Hey up everyone, welcome back to the History of Football channel. Today on the channel I'll be reviewing all the 2024/2025 EFL Championship Home Kits. I did this video last year, got a good response. This is one of my favourite times of the year when all the new kits come out. You get to see what the teams will be wearing throughout the season. This video will be in alphabetical order, so let's get started with the first team and we'll give them a rating out of 10 for their home shirt. Alright, so we're starting with Blackburn Rovers home shirt. This year it looks like they've got a new sponsor in the front of the shirt. I really like the way that the sponsor's integrated onto it. I know last year I think they had Totally Wicked and it didn't really fit that well. It's a traditional Blackburn kit. I really like the way it looks, the colour, everything about it. It's probably one of the nicest kits that you'll see this year in the Championship. So for this one, I'll give it an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I think it's a really nice shirt and I'm pretty sure a lot of the Blackburn Rovers supporters would agree with me. On to Bristol City's home shirt. Now last year I really liked the shirt that they released. I thought it was one of the best ones in Championship. This year, not so much. Not really a fan of what's going around the collar and the sleeves. It doesn't really look particularly nice to me, that's just my own opinion. Sponsor integration's fine, but I think just the collar and the bit around the sleeves, that's what ruins it for me. So I'm not saying that it's an ugly shirt or it's one of the worst shirts, but it's definitely not one of the best either. It's somewhere middle of the road, so I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. This is Burnley's home shirt. When I look at this one, it just looks like a normal sort of a Burnley kit. It's not really any different to what they normally do, I suppose. It looks like they've got a different sponsor in the front door. It's another gambling company, so I mean a lot of people are not big on them. I'm not really big on them myself. Besides that though, it's just your stock standard Burnley shirt for me. They're doing a little bit with there's sort of like a pattern going on there with the clarets, but other than that, it's just your stock standard Burnley shirt, so I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. This is Cardiff's home shirt for this season. Once again, Visit Malaysia is the sponsor and the kits are made by New Balance. With the kit itself, looking at it, it seems that they've decided to put sort of like a chevron into the blue there. The sleeves, the white's actually quite big on the sleeves there, and just around the collar there they've got a bit of white mixed in with blue. I think it's an alright shirt, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it's mind-blowing or out like that, but certainly a decent home shirt. I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. On to Coventry City now, and their shirt's a bit different from last year. Last year they had King of Shaves as a sponsor on the front, and they had sort of like a blue and white vertical stripe pattern going on. This year they've just gone back to the classical sky blue, just all across the shirt. They got a new sponsor on the front, Monzo. It's a decent, clean kit to me. Of course, I really like the shirt that they had last year. It would have been nice if they would have kept that sort of design, but I don't mind this from Coventry City at all. So I would give this one an 8 out of 10. I think it's a decent home shirt for Coventry this year. On to one of the newly promoted sides, Derby County. This year they've decided to go with sort of black under sort of the armpits that run down. I believe that's a new sponsor that they got on the front, Fan Hub, and they're doing something similar to what sort of Bristol City are doing with the collar and the sleeves. However, for some reason I don't mind what Derby have done with their home shirt in regards to the collar and the sleeves. I think it looks pretty good. The kit's made by Puma. I think it's a decent home shirt, to be fair. I'd probably give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a good effort by Derby County. This is Hull City's shirt for this season. What can I say about this one? Very traditional looking, just very simple. You can see a basic, clean. I believe that's the same sponsor that they had from last year. The kits are made by Kappa. Overall, I think it just looks like a nice traditional shirt, and I'm someone that likes that type of stuff. I'm not really someone that's big on flashy designs. I like the tradition and everything that goes with it. So with this one, I'd probably give this one about an 8.5 out of 10. I think this is a solid effort by Hull City. This is Leeds United's home shirt for this season. Big change with this shirt is the sponsor itself. Now they're sponsored by Red Bull, who have a stake in the club, which I'm a bit worried about, because we've seen what happens when they get involved with other football teams. They end up calling the team a different name. I don't want to ever call them Red Bull Leeds or out like that. But getting back to the shirt, besides the sponsor, which I'm not really a fan of, the rest of the shirt is nice. It's a typical Leeds kit, you could say. The kit manufacturers Adidas. From what I've read online, it's very popular amongst Leeds supporters. I'd probably give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I'm just not really a fan of the sponsor. That's the only thing I don't like. On to Middlesbrough's home shirt for this year. It's slightly different to what they had last year. Last year they had sort of like a white bar on either side of the sponsor. This year the white bar is a bit higher, and the Unibet, the sponsor that was there last year, is under it. For me, it's a traditional looking Middlesbrough shirt. I mean, they've had this design many times in the past. Would I say that this shirt's better than last year's? I'd say to be perfectly honest, I thought last year's was better. But I think Middlesbrough fans will still buy this one. Of course, they're my local team technically, so I'll be watching them a few times this year, but I think it's an alright shirt. If I was to give it a rating, I'd probably give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10 tops. I wouldn't give it any higher than that. It's an alright shirt, but it's not exactly mind-blowing for me. This is Millwall's home shirt for this year. It's supposed to be like a retro fusion inspired home shirt. Well, I'm not really a fan of it, to be fair. I mean, the top bit of the shirt looks okay, but then when you get down below the sort of belly button area and you get that white and the blue, and yeah, it doesn't look very nice. And that's just my personal opinion anyway. I think if they just would have kept it blue all the way down and had the collar and the sleeve thingy, the collar, that would have been sound. But yeah, that bottom bit really ruins it for me. I'm not a fan of it at all. So what would I give it out of 10? Sorry, Millwall fans. I know that a lot of you have watched my channel in the past, but I'm going to have to give this one a 2 out of 10. I think it's shocking. But that's just my personal opinion anyway. I bet you there's people out there that will love the home shirt. This is Norwich City's home kit for this year. First thing, when I look at it, it's just your standard Norwich kit. I mean, it's got the yellow, the green, or the canary yellow, I should say. I believe this might be a new sponsor. I don't remember this one from last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But to me, it's just your standard Norwich City shirt. It's just clean, I suppose. Nothing really doing on it though. So for this one, I guess I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Maybe 7.5 out of 10. I probably wouldn't give it any higher than that. But for me, it's just your stock standard Norwich City shirt. Okay, and this is Plymouth Argyle's home shirt. Now last year I said that they had the best kit in Championship. I thought that their shirt were the best. It had the green and the gold and it looked really nice. This one, it looks like they got a new sponsor. Puma's the manufacturer. This one, it's not as dark as the one last year. Last year's had like a really dark green. This one's a bit more on the lighter side. I mean, the sleeves and the collar look okay. It's a decent home shirt by Plymouth Argyle. Once again, I think second year in a row, they've done really well. I would probably give this one, I don't know, probably an 8.5 out of 10. It's a decent showing by Plymouth Argyle. Obviously they got Wayne Rooney as the manager this year, so good luck with that, but at least they'll be looking good on the field, even if results aren't going their way. This is one of the other newly promoted team shirts, Portsmouth. They're sponsored by University of Portsmouth. They're going for like a stripy pinstripe sort of a look. The kit manufacturer is Nike, and it just says Pride, Passion, Pompey. I think, look, for me, I think it looks alright. It's a decent looking home shirt. It's a good effort by Portsmouth. I don't mind the sort of the pinstripe look or the little stripes. on shirts. I don't mind them. For this one, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. If I were a Portsmouth supporter, I'd probably buy it. So yeah, 8 out of 10 from me. This is Queen's Park Rangers home shirt for this year. For me, I think that they've got a new sponsor as well, like a few of the other teams, sponsored by Copybet. I think the sponsor integration looks great. I like the hoops. Sometimes they have the hoops closer together. I think these are perfect the way they are. It looks like a really nice, clean shirt. They've got the traditional badge. Even the sponsors sort of on the sleeves look alright. And this is just another picture of the home shirt. Look, I think it's a nice Queen's Park Rangers shirt. Very traditional. It's a definite yes from me, so I'd probably give this one an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a really nice looking home shirt. Now we move on to Preston North End. Now, I couldn't really find a good picture, so there hasn't been sort of like an official unveiling, I think, of their shirt yet, so I managed to get a picture of it here. For this one, it looks like they've got sort of like a sort of sash thing going on, or something that's going across the shirt. There's some things going around the sleeves as well. I think this might be a new sponsor as well, I'm not too sure. For me, it just looks like, in some ways, like it's got the traditional colours of Preston North End. I know that they're trying to do something across the body there to make it not so bland. For me, it looks okay. At £60 though, that's very steep for a shirt these days, £60. So yeah, I think, look, out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10 at tops. It's alright, but I mean, just the price, I mean, £60, that's a lot of money, so not sure how many people are going to be buying that. On to Sheffield Wednesday's home shirt for this year. At the moment, I don't think that they've got a sponsor on the front, and there is a bit of a difference to their kit this year. I think that there's more stripes in the front going vertically down than normal. Last year they had sort of like more thicker stripes with sort of like a gold thing going through the stripe, and I believe that the collar was different as well, and also they were sponsored by A-Up, I remember that. This is a closer look at it. Inside the stripes they got some sort of thing going on there as well. I think it's an alright home shirt by Sheffield Wednesday, traditional. We'll have to see what it looks like if they put a sponsor on the front, but at the moment I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. Obviously maybe if the sponsor's on it, it might make it worse or better, but we'll just have to wait and see. On to their cross-city rival Sheffield United with their home shirt as well, and this one doesn't have a sponsor on it. I'm not too sure if they're going to have a sponsor this year. And as I mentioned earlier with Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United's doing a similar type of design as what Sheffield Wednesday had last year, with sort of like a stripe going through the actual stripe, if you know what I mean. With this one, I think it's also meant to be a retro inspired shirt, because I saw online there was some people saying it's meant to be based off the 1990-92 shirt. For me, it looks alright. I mean, it's not one of the better Sheffield United shirts that I've seen, but with this one, as I said, the sponsor's going to sort of make or break it once that gets put on it. So I'd probably give this one a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's not mind-blowing, but it's not bad either. On to Stoke City with their home shirt, the only real difference that I can see from what they normally do is that they've got the badge in the middle and not sort of on the left hand side, which is something I'm not really a fan of. I like the badge to be on sort of like the left hand side, not in the middle. Never really been a fan of that. And I think that maybe the stripes in the front, they're thicker than last year, but to me it's just a standard Stoke City kit really. I think they don't really ever stray too much away from this design, so I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's pretty much the same thing that they do every year, I think. This is Sunderland's home shirt. Now with this one, they've gone back to having sort of a red and white on the sleeves. Last year they just had red and white stripes on the front, and then they left the sleeves white or bare, which looked a bit strange, but they fixed that up. I think Spreadex was there last year as a sponsor, so they're there again. Like Stoke City and Sheffield United and all that, Sunderland just got red and white stripes, and they rarely sort of go away from that. So to me, it's just your standard Sunderland shirt. So I give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's better than last year's, though. I didn't like what they were doing with last year's kit. This is Swansea City's home shirt for this year. With this one, obviously with Swansea their main colours are white and black, but this year they've got sort of like a orangey thing sort of going on, which goes around the collar and the sleeves at the bottom there. And they're sponsored by Reviver Coffee, and that's the same colour as what I mentioned earlier. For this one, I've also noticed that, yeah, the black and the orange sort of goes down underneath the armpit, down the side. It looks like a clean shirt. Probably give it like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I think it's alright. I think it's a decent showing by Swansea. Now on to Watford's home shirt for this year. Now on the left is the shirt they had last year, and the new one's on the right hand side. I think that the new shirt for this year is a big improvement on last year's. This year they've gone for pinstripes down the front. Mr. Q's still the sponsor, unfortunately. I think that looks a bit daft, but anyway. And they've got a bit of it like red and black on the collar and just on the bottom of the sleeves there. I think that, for me anyway, personally, this year's home shirt is much cleaner than last year's. Last year they were going for some crazy design, which Watford are known for occasionally, but this year they've kept it simple, and I like it anyway. So I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. People probably disagree with me, but I think that this one's better than last year's. And now we have West Bromwich Albion. On the left is their one from last year. On the one from the right, obviously, is this year. Big differences straight away. There's stripes on the sleeves. There's also a different kit manufacturer. I believe that's Macron. There's the new one. They had Puma last year. Ideal Heating is still the sponsor. There just seems to be more going on with their new kit this year. They've got a better collar, and I like the colour of the collar. And I just think that the kit that they've released this year as opposed to last year is a massive improvement, and I really like the one on the right. So what would I give it out of 10? I'd probably say I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's one of the better shirts that have been released this year. Big improvement on last year, as I said. And just overall, if you look at them side by side, the one on the left just looks cheap. That, to me, it just looks cheap. The one on the right looks way better. Now, there are two notable omissions from this list, that being Luton Town and Oxford United. I was looking everywhere for their new kit online, and I couldn't find anything. They haven't released it yet, or maybe I just couldn't find it with what I was searching with. But so if people are going, where's Luton Town, where's Oxford United, well, that's your answer. But I'm pretty sure, I guarantee after I do this video it'll be released, and I'll have to probably do another video just to get my thoughts on them. But anyways, that's me video rating all the 2024-25 home kits for the championship. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below, and let me know who you think has the worst kits and the best kits. I'd be interested to know, so place all your thoughts down below. But anyways, this has been History of Football, and I'll catch you all later in the next video. Alright, ta-ra for now.